Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Today we study the fifth Dharma verse of the Dhammapada. The verses are, what is wrong, they deem as right. What is right, they deem as wrong. Ensnared in wrong view, the path of enlightenment stands outside. And the next segment is the opposite meaning of that idea. What is right, then know is right. What is wrong, then know is wrong. Abide in right view, the path of enlightenment is not far. Such Dhammapada verses were recounted. But I translated this verse somewhat freely. The original text is slightly different, but the main idea is thus. The reason why the Buddha spoke this Dhammapada verse, we remember every single sentence in the Dhammapada, each has a story, a case, an event of some sort. It is because of speaking about that event that the Buddha made it into a Dhammapada verse. This Dhammapada verse this time relates to the story of the two venerables, Sariputta and Moggallana. The story is long and complicated, but I will tell it briefly. So we recall the history of the Buddha thus. After he attained enlightenment, who did he teach first? The 5 ascetics, the Kaundinya brothers. The eldest among them was Ajnata Kaundinya. The truth is, these stories later are very detailed, because on those days when mentioning the history of the Buddha during the Buddha's birthday celebrations, I will tell it very detailed. But today I won't tell it detailed, only speak briefly. When the Buddha was born 7 days old, there were 5 Brahmin priests who stood to observe features and predict omens and pray for the prince. After 7 days, there was one Brahmin priest who was also good at physiognomy and was the youngest. That person is Kaundinya, the youngest. So when the Buddha practiced austerity, the 5 Kaundinya brothers followed to practice. Kaundinya was several decades older than the Buddha, also served the Buddha. Later, when the Buddha attained enlightenment and returned to save the 5 Kaundinya brothers, we must remember that Venerable Kaundinya at that time was over 50 years old, and the Buddha at that time was 35 years old. Among those 5 Kaundinya brothers, there was one venerable named Assaji. That person is the one who later had the first encounter with Venerable Sariputta and recited the verse by which Venerable Sariputta attained enlightenment. After saving the 5 Kaundinya brothers, the Buddha continued to save the young man named Yasa, whom the sutras often call Yasa. Yasa was a rich, intelligent, and virtuous young man. After he took up the path, he gathered his 54 close friends to follow him to practice, and they also attained the fruit always. So at that time in this world, there were 60 arhats. Then the Buddha returned to the region of Uruvala Kassapa to save 30 young men belonging to the lineage of Bodhivaggas, and they also attained enlightenment always. At that time, the Buddha sought out a group of fire worshippers and ascetics. These people both worshipped fire and practiced asceticism and had very high supernatural powers. These people, sometimes they could walk on water. Sometimes they could conjure fire to burn brightly. Sometimes they could call rain. Meaning the Kassapa brothers who worshipped fire were very famous people at that time, because they had supernatural powers. The Buddha came, he had to use supernatural powers to save them. Here we notice this point. There are people whom we just come and speak reason and they listen. They see, oh, this Dharma is good, and they follow Buddhism. But there are people who speak reason and they don't listen. The person whom we use reason to speak and they don't listen. Only when supernatural powers are displayed do they become afraid to follow. That is 2 types of people. The first type of person is the noble person, meaning the person with power or wealth. When bringing reason to speak to that person, they don't listen, because what logic is being offered? The speaker is still poorer than them, still inferior to them. Only when there are supernatural powers do they become afraid. Then they respect them. As a teacher, even soliciting money is acceptable at that time. That's why rich people often look for this person and that person to follow as a disciple. Because those people boast that they have magic spells, etc. And people follow them and give them everything to eat. The second type of person whom speaking reason to they don't listen is because this person, they have already realized supernatural powers. Now when we bring reason to speak, they don't listen. They must have higher supernatural powers, they will listen. This case is also similar. The Buddha met the 3 Kassapa. brothers who worshipped fire and had realized supernatural powers. The Buddha never spoke reason. He only used supernatural powers. That is, the brothers at that time just ignited one fire. Next, one fire that he nurtured to worship. Then started to ignite the next fire. The Buddha walked past, the fire went out immediately. The Buddha walked past, the fire went out immediately. Igniting it again also did not work. There were such cases. Then they tried to find a way to talk to the Buddha. The Buddha walked but walked continuously and couldn't be followed. Surprised. Then one time saw the Buddha here. But when stepping into the Dharma assembly, saw the Buddha sitting, then turned away, saw the Buddha was no longer there. Vanished to another place. Meaning perhaps that was the time that in the Buddha's life he displayed supernatural powers the most. Other times the Buddha rarely used supernatural powers. He usually used morality, Dharma principle, etc. But only specifically to save the 3 Kassapa brothers who worshipped fire, he displayed countless supernatural powers. The sutras record that he used up to 1,500 supernatural powers to save those 3 stubborn brothers, because they also had supernatural powers. Later, when we study the history of the Buddha and reach this segment, I will tell in detail what supernatural powers the Buddha used to save the 3 brothers. But today is not the story, so I only speak briefly. These 3 brothers had 1,000 disciples. So after the 3 brothers accepted defeat to the Buddha, all 1,000 disciples also followed the Buddha as disciples always. At that time, the Sangha grew very large. Over 1,000 people is because of that. Over 1,000 people is due to this group of fire worshippers. So after saving this group of fire worshippers, the Buddha preached a sermon titled Fire. He preached the fire sermon, which is also very famous. And what was that sermon like? Later, when studying the Buddha's life in the coming Buddha's birthday celebrations, I will tell. Every Buddha's birthday I lecture piece by piece. Remember, I lecture or else that one won't. Listen all. Listen then, next time come again. Otherwise, if I lecture everything, the next Buddha's birthday won't bother coming up to me anymore. I'll be sad. Every year lecture a little bit. So after stabilizing that region, the Buddha returned to the city of Rajagaha to meet King Bimbisara as promised. Here I won't tell, but recently at the Buddha's birthday celebration I recounted the story of when he went to practice asceticism, he met King Bimbisara. Remember? Recounted on the mountain. He promised that after attaining enlightenment he would return to save King Bimbisara. Bimbisara. This time he truly kept his promise. He returned to meet King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara revered him greatly, meaning a person whom 6 years ago he had met, a person not yet enlightened but already extraordinary. 6 years later meeting again, he was truly a supreme enlightened one, unimaginable. So he took refuge and became a disciple of the Buddha. And the whole court also followed suit and took refuge. At that time when the king took refuge, who wouldn't dare to take refuge, right? Who wouldn't dare not to take refuge? And so the whole court took refuge. Then the wealthy Brahmins, also seeing the king like that, also came to take refuge. At that time, almost the whole city of Rajagaha followed to become disciples of the Buddha. So the Buddha's fate is very strange. He was born in the capital of a small state, Sakya, Kapilavastu. But he taught and established the foundation like a Dharma capital, a religious capital of his, in the capital city of Rajagaha. Of a large kingdom, the kingdom of Magadha. The city of Rajagaha, meaning not long after attaining enlightenment, the king and the entire capital followed him completely, making it the first capital of Buddhism in Rajagaha. This is also a special thing. If it were like another religion and the Buddha maintained it, then Rajagaha could become like the Vatican today. But because the Buddha did not advocate for an organization, so he let go and later it faded. Otherwise, for thousands of years, it could have been a capital of Buddhism like the Vatican. King Bimbisara offered the Buddha a bamboo grove to be a monastery for the Sangha to live, which we often call the Bamboo Grove Monastery, very famous. Velyavana. Velu is bamboo. Vana is garden. Velyavana is the bamboo garden. In that place the king had accommodation buildings built, made pathways because the atmosphere in the bamboo forest. Just bamboo. Actually, it's bamboo forest and many bamboos have thorns. But especially the area where many bamboos grow, the air is very good. We remember that point. Bamboo makes the air very good. So anyone who has land and a large garden should take the effort to plant bamboo to improve the air. So at this bamboo grove garden, at this Velliyavana monastery, the two venerables Sariputta and Moggallana came to take refuge and become monks under the Buddha. And what kind of people were the two venerables? Now we briefly review the lives of the two venerables a little, because later when studying the history we will tell the story of the two venerables more carefully, which is also very interesting. Near the city of Rajagaha there were two neighboring villages, and there were two wealthy clan leaders at that time. The richest person was also usually the village head. They were wealthy and they had two sons. The two families were very close. The two villages were very close. And both clan leader families were also very close. And both families gave birth to two sons. It seems they were close since they were in the womb. When they grew up they were always together wherever they went, except when they returned home to rest. They rested at their respective houses, but sometimes they still went to the other person's house to rest with each other. Meaning where one family had set aside a bed, a room for the other person. Just like that. And the other person also set aside a bed, a room for this person. They were close like a vow from a previous life. And of course they were two young men who were very virtuous, very intelligent, talented, of character, and of good appearance. So as soon as they grew up they were famous everywhere. Everyone knew that the two clan leaders had two extremely precious and extremely talented sons. Everyone loved them, but of course the two young men did not marry. The two young men did not marry. They naturally only liked to seek philosophy, enjoying fun and games. Only when there was a play the two went to see it. When there was a festival the two went to play. Horse racing, calling servants to take them. Meaning life was quite luxurious. Parents indulged them. Seeing these sons they felt affection. Why? Because the two sons were very virtuous and intelligent. And the parents because they were too wealthy and had many servants, so they also did not force their children to manage assets or labor. Their children wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. But the unfortunate thing, the suffering part, is that they gave birth to two monks. That's the difficult part. When they began to have a little consciousness, they yearned to seek the absolute, instead of sinking into the enjoyment of life. Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana were also like that. The two sat and talked to each other. After enjoying the pleasures of life, the two said, "What is there in this life? Just sadness and joy, and constant change. And people also die." Meaning the thoughts of the two venerables were also very similar to the Buddha when he was still a prince. Seeing everyone so ordinary, just competing for fame and profit, winning and losing, over small things. And some people lucky, some people less lucky. Life just alternates between suffering and joy, and everyone dies. So they wanted to find something supreme, beyond the cycle of life, beyond those ordinary life and death. The determination to leave home and become a monk. When the two decided to leave home and become monks, of course the parents objected, but the habit of indulging their children was too ingrained. They didn't dare to speak harsh words. The children demanded to become monks. They only knew to be sad and cry, and didn't dare to object. Didn't dare to object. Because in many previous lives they owed the venerables too much, so they didn't dare to speak loudly. Didn't dare to give orders. Didn't dare to do anything at all. The two venerables were born with too great merit. They didn't dare to speak. And on the path to seek the truth, the two venerables also had the same mentality as us now. During the time they were seeking the truth, at that time the Buddha was not present at Velliyavana. At that time he was still practicing asceticism in his ascetic forest, not far from Rajagaha. But because the Buddha only appeared in Rajagaha for a short time, then he became too famous. The Buddha hid away to practice with two spiritual teachers, Alarikalama and Udaka Ramaputta. He practiced but failed, so he left. He practiced asceticism for 6 years. So during those 6 years, he was absent. No one knew about him anymore. At that time in Rajagaha, in that capital area, an ascetic named Sanjaya rose to fame. This person both preached well and practiced asceticism and practiced meditation. In general, the Dharma principles were abundant. Therefore, many people followed him. And at that time in the city of Rajagaha, the capital area, Sanjaya was the most famous, had the most disciples. Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana also had the same mentality as everyone. Whoever has many followers, surely that person is what? Is the ultimate truth? The true master? They just thought like that. So the venerables also followed, joined, and asked to leave home and practice. They also practiced the methods of the teacher, and diligently practiced very intensely. During the times when they came to meet the teacher to discuss the Dharma, when the teacher taught, the venerables asked back. The teacher taught, they asked back. Asked continuously, and the teacher was not stumped. The teachers who accepted those disciples also suffered. Then the teacher started asking back, asked up to where the disciples answered up to there, asked up to where answered up to there. And there were things that they knew the teacher's Dharma principle couldn't solve. But the two venerables had one thing, which was filial piety, meaning even though they saw their teacher had limitations, in their hearts they still respected him, because they still had the teacher-disciple affection. That affection lasted for a very long period of time, especially Venerable Sariputta. He was very filial to his teacher. So after staying with the teacher for a while and not being satisfied with the Dharma principle, because the wisdom of the two venerables was too high, and the teacher was not capable enough to answer, they practiced meditation. The venerables also did well. Austerity, the venerables were also very strict, forcing their bodies. And the Dharma principle, they had comprehended it completely, but they still didn't see anything. The teacher also couldn't say anything more, but they saw people kept coming back and forth offering alms, and people followed to practice very numerous. But inside they realized it was empty, so the two venerables asked permission from the teacher to wander, meaning becoming a mendicant at that time. A mendicant means they wandered from one place to another. Then the venerables set off to inquire, went to many places, not only in the region of Magadha. They went east, west, south, north. Wherever they heard of a famous spiritual teacher, they sought them out to learn. But the thing was like this: whenever they came to inquire, they asked. After a while, that person was stumped. That person asked back, the venerables answered everything. Just like that. So they left that teacher and went. The two brothers went for several years like that, and returned. They said this: we have not had the affinity to find a spiritual master to enlighten us, to help us find the path of immortality. So now temporarily with the Dharma principles we know like this, we will just practice like that. Return home and practice. Make a hut to practice. And among the two of us, if anyone finds the path of immortality, then come and report to the other person. So the two brothers returned home, built a hut. Oh, the parents were overjoyed, wandered around for several years, then returned to stay, so happy. But when they returned, the two venerables stayed to practice. They did not marry, built a hut in the garden area. Daily the family members brought rice for them to eat, and the venerables sat in meditation, practiced austerity, trained their minds very diligently and intensely. So after the venerables practiced for how long? At that time the Buddha had attained enlightenment and was teaching the Dharma everywhere, and he returned to Rajagaha to teach the Dharma. Then the Buddha resided at Velluvana, and he instructed his disciples to scatter, to spread out everywhere, to bring this ultimate truth to everyone. So one beautiful day, Venerable Sariputta also had cause/occasion. He went into the city of Rajagaha. And that day Venerable Asaji, meaning one of the 5 first people, the Kondinya group, also went into Rajagaha for alms round. Venerable Asaji at that time was already an arhat. So his manner was dignified, majestic, and pure. His face seemed to have a halo, because he was an arhat. So he embraced his bowl and walked into the city radiant. Ordinary people probably wouldn't recognize him, but because Venerable Sariputta was too talented, he had wisdom and intuition. Venerable Sariputta at that time, he also wore robes, but his robes were also very expensive, because he was from a wealthy family, so they wouldn't let him wear old robes. The robes were always new. Also a mendicant, wearing robes like a mendicant, but the robes looked beautiful. He walked in and suddenly saw an older mendicant. The robe cloth on him was old. Embracing his bowl, walked into the city for alms. But with his intuition, he knew this person was extraordinary, because the face was calm, pure, walking as if in emptiness, just like a halo of light, not disturbed, walking in the city. His intuition led him to guess. This is a true master, an enlightened one. There is no one else. So he came, he bowed, and he followed. Because when Venerable Asaji went for alms, he didn't say anything at all. Venerable Sariputta just followed like that. When Asaji finished his alms round, he went to the foot of a tree to sit. Venerable Sariputta took his own cloth, spread it underneath, to invite the Venerable to sit, and sat attending beside him. When Venerable Asaji finished eating, placed the bowl down. Then Venerable Sariputta came, knelt down and bowed and said this, "O Venerable, where do you come from? Who is your teacher? What Dharma method do you practice, that your person emits such a calm, pure and bright light? It has never been seen in this life." Venerable Asaji, he was a genuine arhat, so he was very humble. He said this. He said, "O good friend, I am also just an ordinary mendicant. There is nothing. He is not like us." We would immediately boast. If someone asks us, we would immediately boast. Boast to an extreme degree. But he was just humble. At that time, Venerable Sariputta said, "Dear Venerable, I have faith that you have attained an extraordinary Dharma position. Please tell me just a little bit, just a few words, so I can have a direction." The two Venerables were both intellectuals and wise. Talking to each other was very gentle. Both were virtuous and humble. So when Venerable Sariputta was too earnest, Venerable Asaji recited a famous verse. He said that all phenomena arise from causes and conditions. My teacher is the great mendicant Gautama who has spoken thus. Just saying these two lines, Venerable Sariputta immediately attained enlightenment, realized the fruit of stream entry immediately. Then he continued to say two more lines, and all phenomena will also disappear and perish according to causes and conditions. That is what my teacher, the great mendicant Gautama, affirms. The latter two lines, Venerable Sariputta did not attain any further realization. Only the first two lines he realized. Immediately, the latter two lines he did not realize. Venerable Sariputta thought that there must be a reason. He suddenly woke up, finished bowing. He said that, "I have a friend. Please let me know where is the great mendicant Gautama." He said he is at the Bamboo Grove Monastery. The Bamboo Grove Monastery, the Velluvana garden of King Bimbisara, was famous already. At that time everyone knew about it, but perhaps Venerable Sariputta did not know the introduction yet. Venerable Sariputta bowed to Venerable Asaji, went over to his friend's house, recounted, recited the verse again. Just reciting the first two lines, Venerable Moggallana also suddenly enlightened immediately, also instantly realized the fruit of stream entry always. And after that the two brothers said, "Let us go to visit our former teacher Sanjaya, to tell him these beneficial things, to invite him together." Meaning the three teacher and disciples will go to Velluvana to meet the great mendicant Gautama, an enlightened one, to learn the Dharma together. The two venerables went to meet Sanjaya and said this, "Dear teacher, today on our way, we met a venerable whom we believe is a true arhat in this world." And the venerable spoke a verse which opened our minds. We began to see the path. We set foot on the path leading to immortality. And I asked the teacher to come with us. Let the three of us go to the Bamboo Grove Monastery, because there is the great mendicant Gautama teaching the Dharma. The two venerables also recited the verse. But the teacher listened and did not attain enlightenment, and they strongly persuaded him. The teacher also did not agree to go. Then after a while they asked too much. Why don't you go, teacher? While your whole life you dedicated to the path, seeking the ultimate truth, wanting to find the door of immortality. Now there is a person who has opened that door of immortality. Please follow us. The three teacher and disciples will go together to learn the Dharma. They pleaded profusely. The teacher said this sentence. Now I ask you too, in this life, the person with wisdom and the foolish person, which one is more? Which one is more numerous? Answer me. The foolish are more numerous, right? Yes. So Venerable Sariputta also answered the same way we speak. He said, Yes, teacher. It is clear that in this world, the foolish person is more numerous than the wise person. Then the teacher continued to say, So you see, those who have wisdom go to Gautama to practice, and the foolish come here with me. So I will have more, I will occupy the majority. A saying that sounds very sarcastic. Very heartbreaking, right? Very heartbreaking. Meaning what? It is clear that that teacher, does he need to seek the ultimate truth? He seeks what? He seeks fame and fortune. Seeks fame and fortune. Seeks the majority. Later we will analyze this sentence. This sentence penetrates deeply. The world we live in today still makes mistakes because of this. Seeking the majority. When hearing the teacher pronounce this sentence, the two brothers were stunned and realized. So their teacher all this time was also speaking the Dharma, teaching the Dharma, recruiting monks, but deep down was not a person who wanted to seek the ultimate truth, but only seeking fame and fortune. At that time they were stunned. But at first they thought their teacher was yearning for the ultimate truth. So they tried to persuade him. Now that he revealed the true nature, that he likes to have many followers, to have fame and fortune, they were stunned. Then Sariputta stood up and said a sentence. Teacher will be famous for this saying. And indeed he is famous until now. Teacher will be famous for this saying. So the two brothers left and went to meet the Buddha. At that time the Buddha was preaching the Dharma. When the two brothers arrived from afar at the monastery, the Buddha immediately stopped the Dharma talk. The Buddha said, Look, Sariputta and Moggallana, that is a pair of friends with truly perfect merit and destiny. When they arrived, the Buddha preached the Dharma, and his Dharma talk caused many people to attain the way. But the two venerables still did not attain realization. 1 week later, Venerable Sariputta attained arhatship. And the following week, Venerable Moggallana also attained arhatship. So there was a difference of about 1 week. But some histories record that the two venerables attained realization at the same time. But some histories record that the two venerables were separated by about 1 week. Because the advantage of Venerable Sariputta was slightly greater. After the two venerables attained arhatship, the Buddha announced. He appointed the two venerables as the great disciples, leading the entire Sangha, including bypassing all the former elders. Because the three Kassapa brothers each had long beards. Venerable Kondinya was the oldest, and the others were all old, while the two venerables Sariputta and Moggallana were only in their 20s or 30s, not old. Yet the Buddha suddenly appointed the two of them to be the great disciples. Everyone said, Oh, why is the Buddha biased? The Buddha is biased. The Buddha answered profusely. The Buddha said that the Tathagata is not biased. The Tathagata does this work because the cause and condition must be so. The Buddha recounted that in the past Venerable Kondinya created what merits to pray that later he would be the first person to attain enlightenment. And I saved him exactly as such. Then the 55 friends of the young man Yasa made what vows, so they attained arhatship. Then Kassapa made what vow, so he attained arhatship. And so on, the Bhattavagas group and so on vowed how, while Moggallana and Sariputta, for many lives always vowed to assist the Buddha to lead and establish the Sangha. Therefore today the Buddha does according to that. And everything will be good like that. So everyone just obeyed. No argument at that time. Then Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana recounted to the Buddha the story of the famous ascetic at that time, Sanjaya, who said the sentence that in this world the foolish are more numerous than the wise, and therefore he needs this majority. He saves this majority. As long as many people, he sees it as better. The Buddha looks and sees the Buddha has 100 people. He has 1,000 people. So he wins the Buddha. He needs to win the number. It was at that moment that the Buddha spontaneously spoke this Dhammapada verse. What is wrong, they deem as right. What is right, they deem as wrong. Ensnared in wrong view, the path of enlightenment stands outside. What is right, then know is right. What is wrong, then know is wrong. Abide in right view, the path of enlightenment is not far. It was at that time that the Buddha criticized Sanjaya by this Dhammapada verse. So we will analyze the meaning of this verse, how it is. Hear the meaning of this verse. We see it is easy to understand, right? What is wrong, they deem as right. What is right, they deem as wrong. Person can be like that. But if a person frequently is like that, then their practice doesn't progress, meaning they cannot attain sainthood, cannot attain enlightenment, cannot attain liberation and enlightenment. That is the intention, meaning to criticize Sanjaya, that people must seek the ultimate truth. Why seek the majority of disciples? Don't count people. The important thing is to seek the right thing. But Sanjaya just abides in the mistake, just considering his point of view to be right. Now, in this world, whoever has many followers is the superior person. The Buddha criticized that point of view. That is the mistake. And just holding onto it forever, then indeed they fall into perdition always. But the truth is not like Sanjaya thought. So after Sariputta and Moggallana abandoned their teacher to follow the Buddha and attained enlightenment, leading the Sangha always, all of his disciples also left completely. The entire forest was empty, no people, and Sanjaya vomited blood and died, because his ambition was not achieved. Too resentful, died also due to such a mistaken mind. Now we will draw out some examples to see what things in this life are wrong but seen as right, right but seen as wrong, and review and contrast with our own minds if we are also like that so we can avoid it. If we are entangled in similar cases, we change our point of view. Among the things we can see as wrong, the main issue is the issue of merit. And there are things that we think we do like that and we gain merit. But unexpectedly, it is not. It is not. The gods and saints do not consider that as merit. But we are only brainwashed. We are told like that by some book. We are told like that by some teacher. And we believe and follow. We just diligently dedicate our time in life to carry out that deed and think it is merit. But beware, it is not. For example, the fire-worshipping religion in India at that time was like that. In the philosophy of fire worship, from the Vedas to the Upanishads, it holds that fire is what? It flares up, and where it reaches, it is believed that it brings what of the mundane world to be sent up to heaven. Therefore, whoever dies and is cremated, that person follows the flame up to heaven. And when we make offerings to the devas, we pour fragrant oil into the fire. The fire flares up, it will bring the fragrant oil up to heaven. Meaning fire flies up. They are simple. And thus the flame is what? Sacred. What? Marvelous. Sustaining humans. And connecting as a bridge between humans and the gods. Meaning praising fire. Endlessly. And whoever bows to fire, what happens? Great merit beyond measure. Whoever worships fire, whoever kneels and bows to fire, this person, life after life will not die, will not fall into the realms of animals, hungry ghosts, or hell. This person will surely die and follow the fire up to heaven. Therefore, bowing to fire, the merit is immense. Hearing that for a moment, does it sound reasonable? Maybe it sounds reasonable. Hearing that for a moment, we see it sounds reasonable. Because now we have read the Buddha's teachings and we see it is unreasonable. But in the past, when people said that, for a moment it sounded reasonable. Starting to generate the faith and reverence for fire. Rushing to bow to fire immensely, and considering that as merit. Therefore, instead of spending time to help people, to love people, to live morally with their duties, and practice meditation, People waste too much time in bowing to the flame. And the thing is, people think that what? Merit. Think it is merit. But is there merit in that? No merit. That is the wrong understanding. What is right, they deem as wrong. What is wrong, they deem as right. The first wrong and right of human beings is exactly the misunderstanding about merit. Mundane matters are many, but our spiritual practice in the Dharma, the thing we pay most attention to, is the matter of creating merit. So how to create it correctly? But creating it wrongly due to the belief passed down through many lives, we just think that is true merit. But the truth is gods and saints criticize it. Gods and saints criticize it. Then there is the custom of the people of India, which is bathing in the Ganges River. This is the Ganges River. At that time, a very large river in India. Looking across the shore is very far. The flood waters flow turbulently, and countless myths about this Ganges River. It is said that the Ganges River has divine beings living there. It is the water current that flows down from heaven. Therefore, this water current is the water of heaven. It is different from small streams and brooks. And this is divine water, because it is water, poured down from heaven, so it carries the full qualities of gods and saints. Therefore, no need to practice much. No need to study much. Just immerse oneself in the water that is poured down from heaven. What happens? All sins are purified. All purified. Does that sound reasonable? It sounds very reasonable, because the premise they set is that the water is poured down from heaven. If we accept that premise, then the subsequent reasoning we accept entirely. So we believe that bathing in the Ganges River is blessed, meaning the people of India always yearn to be bathed in the Ganges River, and dying and being released into the Ganges River, they will surely go to heaven. So when we go to India, even now we sometimes still encounter dead bodies being pushed and thrown into the Ganges River. And whoever can scoop up a bit of Ganges River water, what happens? They will have many divine blessings within them, even though it might cost a little money to buy diarrhea, medicine, etc. that will be dealt with later. But inside them, it is sacred. And tourists even today still catch sight of people who use their hands to paddle away the bloated corpse nearby. They paddle it away so they can scoop up the water to drink right there, because the corpses just float lazily, released at the banks. Or they cremate beside the Ganges River and pour the ashes into the Ganges River. Or even the whole body still alive is pushed down into the Ganges River always, to gain divine blessings. Then people stand there. They push the corpses far away. They immerse themselves and bathe. They pray. And they believe it is merit. They believe it to the death. Now if we say it's not, they won't believe. So standing from the Buddhist perspective now, hearing about non-Buddhists who misunderstand merit like that, we find it funny, right? We find it funny. But let me tell you, we are also like that. There are things we are dead serious about, believing our merit. But let me break the sad news. There is no merit. I'm saying this sentence, it's about to cause conflict. It's about to cause conflict. For example, there is a sutra we are dead serious about believing. Reciting this sutra, what happens? The merit is immensely great. We dedicate all our time and effort to reciting it, because we believe reciting this sutra brings great merit. But the truth is, I'm telling the truth, the gods and saints above are looking down and laughing. It's like reciting this sutra is like those people bowing to fire and bathing in the Ganges River, wasting a lot of time on useless things. There is nothing at all. Merit is not that. Even now we believe that we dedicate all our time to reciting the name of a Buddha, and we consider that as a measurable merit. Beware, that very Buddha will also just smile wryly, because the Buddha did not teach that. The Buddha did not teach that. Now let's try. Let's imagine ourselves as a Buddha, and the Buddha is with self or without self. The Buddha is without self. For example, we imagine each of us imagine we are a Buddha, who is without self, no longer considering oneself important. The Buddha must be like that to be a Buddha. And if we are no longer important, is our name important? Our name is not important. So in Zen there is a saying, At that time in the 7th ox herding. Picture. The scene is of a cow that has been lost. The master sits looking at the moonlight. And there is a Zen master who noted below this sentence. 1,000 people call, but he does not turn his head. Meaning their mind is unmoving, and they are separated from their name. Now let's temporarily call names. For example, that person's name is Nguyen Min Chiu Sang something. A beautiful name, beyond measure. For example, the name when we haven't attained enlightenment, when our mind is not pure, that name is us. We are that name. If someone calls that name out and curses, it means that person is cursing us. If someone writes our name on a piece of paper, puts it on the ground, and steps on it, our heart aches because they are stepping on us, right? But when enlightened, the name is gone, and we are no longer attached to it. If people write our name out, put it on the ground, step on it, curse and insult it, we see what? No attachment to ourselves. No reaction. Then people call that name out. They praise it. Oh, this is the greatest person in the world. We remain indifferent because we are no longer attached to that name. So the person whose mind is pure, they are separated from that name. That designation is illusory on the outside. The Buddha is millions of times more supreme than that. So is the name still attached to him? Not attached anymore. Now there are people who keep calling his name to ask him to bestow grace. Does he find it funny? He finds it funny. He feels sorry for them and does not abandon that person because that person is also cultivating affinity, has sincerity. But that method of practice is not correct. And what practice method is correct? We know this. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness means remembering. Mindfulness of the Buddha means what? Remembering the Buddha. And we have 3 ways to remember the Buddha. The first way to remember the Buddha is calling the Buddha's name all day. That is the first way. Who here is like that? Raise your hand. The second way to remember the Buddha is pondering, researching, studying the Buddha's teachings, without calling the Buddha's name anymore, but seeing what the Buddha taught, finding out clearly to apply. And the third way to remember the Buddha is what? Living according to the Buddha's teachings all day, doing according to the Buddha's teachings, practicing according to the Buddha's teachings. And among those 3 ways, which way is the best? Must be the third way, right? It must be. That is the most genuine person who is mindful of the Buddha. That is the most genuine person who remembers the Buddha. Not the person who calls the Buddha's name all day, who is called the most genuine person, but just thinks they have the most merit. Because must be what is right, they deem as wrong. What is wrong, they deem as right. Is it right yet? No. That is not only outsiders who are affected. Even within Buddhism we are also affected. Only the gods and saints know our mistake or not. But now if we are told we are wrong, we immediately argue. This is my belief from childhood. If you say this is wrong, say it's wrong, we roll up our sleeves and argue till the end. But we don't know that we are truly wrong. Wrong completely. And not only we are wrong, many of our previous lives were also wrong. Now we continue, just like outsiders continue, from generation to generation worshipping fire and bathing in the Ganges River. But even now they still believe it. Don't think they have stopped. Even now they still believe. But we are Buddhists, so we escape. But we escape, and within Buddhism we are still affected. Not finished yet. Still affected. Not finished yet. And this is the point where we must be brave to escape once more. Or it's like this. For example, we dream and see our relative return, saying they are cold, have no clothes to wear. So we come and ask the teacher. The teacher says, "Here, I sell you stacks of paper clothes. Bring them home, burn them, and the person over there immediately has clothes to wear." Have any of us done that yet? Too many times, right? No wrong path at all. No wrong path at all. But in the Buddhist sutras it is recorded very clearly. A similar story. There was a person. Their deceased relative came back in a dream, reporting they were cold and had no clothes. So the venerables taught to buy cloth, offer it to the Sangha. Buy cloth, offer it to the poor. And stand before the Buddha, dedicate the merit to the relative. and the person over there immediately felt comfortable and warm, meaning we create merit for the living and dedicate it to the dead. Naturally, the dead person in that realm receives blessings. It is not about taking paper clothes. The temples in the north still often suffer from this. Votive offerings. They want their relative to have a house, so they make a very beautiful house. Burn it instantly. Down below, the person continues to live on the street. Where is the house? Those absurd things. Absurd things. Then they are afraid that down there are no cars to drive. So they make a very beautiful paper motorbike. Burn it instantly. Down below. Asking down there. They say there is no gasoline now, so how can they have paper gasoline to burn down? It is suffering like that. There are things we think are merit but actually are not merit. Or there is a mantra. A person recites that mantra and believes to the death that this mantra is sacred, and considers themselves to have a lot of blessings. But in fact, the gods and saints looking down see no merit at all. The mantra has no merit whatsoever. And merit is exactly what? Exactly the compassion, love for people. In the heart of the person who has compassion for all sentient beings, a great mantra exists in their heart, which makes the gods and saints all love them. But if in our heart there is no compassion for everyone, and only a mumbling mantra on our mouth, then we are not loved by the gods and saints at all. So there is this story. There was a nun. She practiced Vajrayana, and often did good deeds, also often chanted mantras, and went to do charity work, helping the poor, this person and that person. She died in an accident. After several years, she came back in a dream to report to her disciple. Teacher has not been liberated yet. Teacher is still wandering. Please ask the monks to pray for me. And many other monks and nuns also have not been liberated yet. The disciple woke up and reported to the monks. It was shocking, because people were surprised. They said that nun practiced so much, chanted so many mantras, and also did a lot of merit. But why did she die and not achieve liberation? So here we must reconsider. There are things we think are merit, but those things the gods and saints do not accept. Do not accept. Therefore, meaning the correct practitioner is someone who sees what is true merit. What is true merit? We have a path opened before us. But how do we know what is true merit to follow? We don't know. Beware. Because our teacher might also be like that. Might also be wrong. The teachers we trust, who speak the ultimate truth impeccably, beware, they might also misunderstand. And we follow them, we also create illusory merits. Until death, he also doesn't achieve liberation. We follow him and we also don't achieve liberation always. Also wandering on the streets, just like our teacher always. But when alive, we were sure that we were doing things as our teacher taught. The merit was immensely great. This is a very frightening point. Many times we are affected by a prison director. Prison director. Is that terrifying? Terrifying. But no. This person loves the inmates, teaches them morality. And when someone is released from prison, if he knows that person has no job at home, he finds them a job. He opens farms nearby. He adopts them as foster children. He arranges marriages. He cares for them. When he dies, he ascends to heaven. He knows nothing about the Dharma at all. But that is accepted by the gods and saints immediately. The gods and saints immediately approve. They say, "Oh, this person is good, doing true merit." While sometimes the person who claims to be a Buddhist, even a monastic, recites how many sutras and mantras, dies and they say, "No, no merit at all." They say, "Wait, stay there, practice again, to be reviewed later," wandering, waiting around the temple to eat, so that when the temple offers food, they can eat. And then we'll see, no merit. But when alive, they thought they had immeasurable merit. This is a heartbreaking truth. Today, when we talk about this, we will offend many monks and nuns. But we must speak, because this Dhammapada verse is too terrifying. What is wrong, they deem as right. What is right, they deem as wrong. Ensnared in wrong view, the path of enlightenment stands outside. And this is not only in external paths, we are also affected always. Because why? because wrong view has mixed into Buddhism. This point is very difficult, and all religions also have the same weakness, claiming to have great merit, saying whoever follows this religion will be supreme, will die and ascend to heaven, and so on. There is even a religion that encourages people to hug a bomb, die together with others to commit terrorism. And it says that person who dies will ascend to heaven, with 72 virgins waiting to enjoy pleasures. Yet people still believe that. But the truth is, the person who hugs a bomb and dies together, what happens? Dies and goes straight to hell, because they caused many innocent people to die, many families to suffer. Hugging a bomb to kill people and saying they go to heaven, how can they go up? Yet people still believe that. We see that religions, or there is a religion that says, just submit to a God and ask for anything, God will give it. Does that have merit? No merit at all. Only a little humility is gained, because the person who is always kneeling and praying is, God is supreme, and I am your servant at your feet. Please give me this, please give me that. The person who kneels and prays like that gains one good thing only, very humble, only gains that, while many other things are completely wrong. Or in Buddhism there is a concept that also says this. Sometimes there are elderly lay people who come and ask the teacher, Teacher, I am old, living today, dying tomorrow. Please let me leave home and become a monk to cultivate affinity, so that in the next life I can have the affinity to become a monk. Is there such a belief? Many people have that concept. The teacher says, oh, good. I will let you leave home. Leave home for a few days, wear robes, then die. After dying, in the next life, don't dream of becoming a monk anymore. Why? Because when we leave home, we enjoy the respect and bowing of others, right? The merit is completely used up. In the next life, the affinity to become a monk is gone. When we are old, we are weak. Our dignity is gone. We can't do much for the Dharma anymore, but we get to enjoy the bowing and respect of others, and use up the merit. The affinity must go with the merit. Otherwise, the affinity won't materialize. Therefore, that wrong understanding that, oh, I will try to leave home just once to have the next life's affinity to become a monk. No, leaving home just once will lose the affinity to become a monk always. But there are people who ask the teacher, what affinity to cultivate to become a monk? He says, first of all, respect monastics, right? Respect the teacher to become a teacher, and respect the Buddha to later become a Buddha. So we respect the Sangha members. Later we will become a monastic. Then when we become a monastic, we will be respected by others. But people won't offer food, because in previous lives we didn't cultivate the affinity of offering to monastics. We respected them before, but we didn't offer food. Let's try now to offer food to monastics. Then in the next life we will be respected by others and be offered food. There is a corresponding cause and effect. Then many other things. Then we are respected by others and offered food. But we cannot study, cannot preach the Dharma, cannot have disciples, wandering on the streets, no temple to stay in at all. What happens? It is also very suffering, right? Therefore, to be a monastic who is completely fulfilled with full merits, we must cultivate many affinities, and do not enjoy them, so that when we leave home, we have enough merit to be a genuine monastic, have proper dwelling, have dignity, have purity, and can teach and save sentient beings. Have enough merit like that, then step into monastic life. In that way, it is correct and complete. But seeing the practitioner who is respected by many people, and immediately jumping into the ranks of monastics to also enjoy that, will lose the affinity to become a monk forever. And if we enjoy it unworthily, then in the next life not only will we not be able to become a monastic, but we won't even be a human being anymore. There are many dogs in the temple, let me tell you, they are precisely practitioners in the temple who have fallen to become dogs, losing their chance always. Whenever it is time for chanting, they run up to the main hall to listen, because in the previous life at that time they chanted. Now they still remember that. They like vegetarian food. Those dogs are all practitioners. Practitioners. But in the next life, they couldn't return to be human practitioners, but return to be dogs. So the idea that we think that leaving home hastily to cultivate affinity is also a mistake. What is right, they deem as wrong. What is wrong, they deem as right, is also affected like that. It is not easy. Or some people think that practicing Buddhism is liberation. And liberation means not being attached to anything, and wanting to be attached to nothing, then do nothing at all. Do nothing at all. Does that sound right? At first hearing it sounds reasonable. But unexpectedly it is wrong. Unexpectedly completely wrong. So when it is said practice is not doing anything at all, saying, practice is liberation, doing nothing at all. So when society looks at that person, what happens? Starts to despise them. The person who lives in this world and does nothing beneficial for anyone. People despise. Gods criticize. Don't even mention liberation. Because liberation means what? Liberation means becoming a transcended saint, whom from heaven to human beings everyone must respect. And such a person cannot be someone who lives idly and enjoys leisure. That is the busiest person on this earth. The busy person, and busy doing the right things, not busy wandering around. That is the person who takes care of Dharma affairs, takes care of good deeds. The busiest person on this earth. That is the person who will achieve liberation, meaning it requires immense merit to be a saint. But we don't understand. We just think we do nothing at all. We are leisurely, cutting off affinities, avoiding affinities. Then unexpectedly that person is despised by gods and saints. These are misunderstandings. Because of misunderstandings, we stand outside the path of enlightenment. Or some people think that when we practice to the level where our mind is pure, the mind is empty and pure, and we abide in that pure mind, it means we are immortal. We surpass all worldly merits. Let me tell you, that is nonsense. Why? Because the mind that is pure and empty, that is the blessing of the heavenly realm. The blessing of the heavenly realm is only attained with that pure and empty mind. And now we refuse to do anything at all. We just cling to that mind, hold on to that mind, praise that mind, abide in it, holding on to the pure and empty mind. Gradually, after the blessings are exhausted, it will become turbulent again immediately. The mind will become agitated again immediately. It is not simple. Therefore, the concepts we have held all this time, many concepts are wrong. And thus we unknowingly stand outside the path of enlightenment. And we don't know it, affected by it, very much. So we shouldn't think that only outsiders are wrong. Within Buddhism we have also mixed in very many wrong views. Now today we pray for the Buddha's protection so we can filter out the wrong views from Buddhism, to rebuild a genuine Buddhism, from the very beginning, from the most fundamental foundation, so we can walk the true path of enlightenment, not deviate outside. This path is not easy. Or returning to the case of Sanjaya. As currently in the world it is believed that we often say that in a voting or election what happens? The minority must submit to the majority, meaning when voting, whichever side is numerous, that side wins. Whichever opinion is accepted by many people, that opinion must be implemented, must be put into practice. And thus people assume that the majority is right. The opinion of the majority is right. But in the past Sanjaya, he did not follow the Buddha. He was what is wrong they deem as right, what is right they deem as wrong. But he realized that in this world, the wise are fewer than the foolish. So the opinion of the majority is the opinion of whom? The foolish or the wise? The foolish. And this is a heartbreaking truth for the world. Even today in the 21st century, from the countries that consider themselves the most civilized to the poorest countries, they still assume that the opinion of the majority is the most correct. Humanity today is still immersed in this mistake, not finished yet. Therefore, the international laws, national laws, declarations, conventions, public international law, constitutions, let me tell you they are wrong. Because what? They rely on the majority. We just think that relying on the majority is right. But unexpectedly, the majority can still be bought off as usual. For example, now there is a parliament in that country. They convene to draft a law. And when voting it is also the majority, right? As long as the majority of those representatives, they vote, then the law is passed and applied throughout the nation. But we don't know that there is still a secret hand, buying off each member of parliament, each representative, saying, tomorrow this law will be publicized, or next month this law will be discussed. If you vote this way, I will give you $50,000. That person, if you vote this way, I will give you $50,000. And he spends how many $1 million, the law is passed immediately, just because of the majority. So we understand one thing. The majority is not necessarily the ultimate truth. What the majority chooses is not necessarily the most correct. In the past, the German people themselves voted for Hitler. Who else voted? Then Hitler was the one who caused terror to the world. Not the minority, the majority. The majority voted. And we are wrong. The whole world is wrong because of this majority and minority issue. Yet in the past, Sanjaya saw that in this world the wise are fewer than the foolish. So the wise people go to Gautama. The foolish come to me, so I will have more. He was wrong at what point? You see, his initial realization was right, the wise are fewer than the foolish. His initial part was very wise. But the mistake afterwards was he preferred the majority, preferred fame and fortune, to hope that using the majority he would overwhelm the mendicant Gautama. Later when asked, how many disciples Gautama has? They say 500. And how many disciples Sanjaya has? They say 5,000. Then I win. The mistake is exactly there. Thus the goal of his life was to seek the majority of disciples, not to seek the path of immortality. It was because of that point that he died immediately. When Sariputta and Moggallana left and went to the Buddha and succeeded, all his followers left completely, and he vomited blood and died always. Precisely because he did not seek the path of immortality, he died immediately, died painfully, died resentfully. We see there are mistakes that even today the world is not yet civilized. There are religions that after they research science, they realize that their doctrine is wrong. They realize that their doctrine is truly wrong. However, just like Sanjaya, they refuse to give it up. They are the high leaders of their religion, and they know their religion is wrong, has failed, cannot develop anymore. But they are like Sanjaya, refusing to abandon that path to seek the ultimate truth, but trying to spread the teaching to areas where people don't know them. In civilized areas, people know their doctrine is wrong, so they don't follow anymore. So they won't preach in that area anymore. They will go to areas where the people's intellect is still low. They will develop in those areas. In areas with ethnic minorities. In areas where the people's intellect is still low. To continue to popularize their religion. Thus, the initial realization was very correct. Their religion is wrong. But the second part is not correct anymore. Oh well, let's preach in the areas of foolish people. It's not just Sanjaya alone. In today's life, there are still many missionaries of other religions. Like that, preaching in civilized areas, people no longer listen. Now they preach in backward countries and enter the forests and mountains, preach to ethnic minorities. Those people are easy to listen to. Therefore, all of us must have the duty to also go into the forests and mountains always. We Buddhists must go into the forests and mountains always, to help our ethnic minority brothers and sisters know the ultimate truth soon, so they won't be deluded by the doctrines that the whole world already knows are wrong. Nowadays people know they are wrong, but in the forest they don't know they are wrong. Now we must go into the forest and report always, saying, that doctrine is wrong, don't follow it anymore. Now another mistake of the world. Now people measure the prosperity and success of a nation by what? By what index? Per capita income, right? Gross national income is the total national product. Is the per capita income how many dollars per year per person? And they consider that. the country that has a higher number. Meaning if this country has $10,000 per person per year, $20,000 is the highest in the world. While a country that has $400 to $500 per person per year, that country is poor, and so on. Even today people still measure by that dollar amount, using money to measure the happiness of a nation. It is truly heartbreaking, truly unjust for the world. For humanity, it is a very unjust thing that today all politicians, economists, sociologists are like that, and unjust for human beings. And thus to continue to create growth in income, what must people do? People must work extremely hard, plowing with all their might, from top to bottom, forming a machine that works, plows, no longer aware of anything else, no longer having free time, only knowing to plow, work. And at that time, meaning we will see people working in those countries with stress, weary, and fear. Fear what? Fear losing their job, then losing their house, because the house is paid in installments, right? Losing their car, because the car is paid in installments, because they don't have money to pay anymore. The car and house are taken back immediately. They live on the street immediately, so they work stressed, weary, and fearful. Thus 3 factors, hardship, stress, fear, are the state of mind of whom when working? When we are stressed, weary, and fearful. I tell you, that is the state of mind of a slave, right? Isn't that right? Exactly. Meaning we work, but we are not the masters of our lives. Always fearful, clearly not happy. We work, but we must work stressed. Our mind weary, and always fearful. That is the state of a slave. And the slave today is exactly like the slaves of 6 or 7 centuries ago. 1,000 years ago, those slaves were also like that, working wearily, stressed, and fearful. And thus today human beings are still slaves. A country can be very rich, but that country is also a country that maintains slavery. In another subtle form, even though they open their mouths and say it might be democracy, but in reality it is still slavery. Why? Because people measure prosperity by the dollar amount. This is an injustice to humanity. But if we meet a nation where they live, they might work more leisurely, but they have more culture, have discipline, have profound way of life, have Dharma principle. That nation is happier. Maybe their per capita income is low, but they are happier, meaning people work with each other with love, with mutual support. They are diligent but not weary. They have responsibility but are not stressed, and they are not fearful at all. So those people are happy, right? And now it is time for us to change our concept about the economy. Not creating a life for the people that is stressed, weary, and fearful anymore, but must create a life for the people where they can live, can work with the spirit of diligence, responsibility, and joy. It is the opposite of the concept of weary, stressed, and fearful. It is time for the world to change. Not because of measuring by the dollar amount, per capita income, gross national product, or anything that forces people to all become slaves, working wearily, stressed, and fearful. It is time to change. Now there is another one that is what is wrong they deem as right, and what is right they deem as wrong. Some people think that money is what? Money is everything. Therefore, to find money they accept to exchange everything, including their conscience, dignity, morality, chastity, as long as they have money. But unexpectedly the outcome is what? Only suffering and losing everything, losing all honor. We hear stories these days. The newspaper reports, person only sought money, but now everything is broken, nothing left, lost everything always. I am not naming anyone. Whoever says it is up to them. I am not saying, while a family they might live poorer, but their money is righteous. Their children are raised by righteous money, so they are well behaved. Clearly they are not richer, but they are happier, right? Happier. Now another mistake. Recently someone came up the mountain. Up the mountain I saw. I issued a command to kill flies to save the Country. The flies were terrible. So many flies. I issued the command to kill flies to save the country. And that nun said, "Oh my God. Now I know Venerable Chan Kuang is brutal, cruel, and everything else." But I didn't answer, because I have said these things many times. I told my disciple, "Just answer for me, I won't answer." Then someone also asked me. In the past someone asked me. They said, "I heard that in your temple it is said that Buddhism prohibits killing, but you kill flies and mosquitoes." I said this. I said, "Actually, the precept of non-killing is great. It is not simple. Now we say that following Buddhism we love all creatures. We also love the tiger, right? We also love the rabbit. So when the tiger comes out and the rabbit comes out, who do we protect? Who do we protect? Like me now, I love all the Buddhists, right? And I also love the fish. But I know for sure, later when returning home, Buddhists will eat fish. No wrong path. Is that right? My wife protects whom? Therefore, it is not simple in the precept of killing. So I said this. I said we must have a slightly bigger view and also suitable for science. The precept of non-killing for us is to protect life. So what is the greatest life that we must prioritize protecting? It is the living environment of the earth first. Then the existence of all organisms depends on this living environment of the earth. So protect this first. The highest priority is the common living environment of the earth. Then the existence of life of other species starts to be ranked in descending order of priority. And according to me, flies and mosquitoes are slightly lower priority. Slightly lower priority. So sympathize with me. I must protect the health of my disciples and my Buddhists. When they come to the temple, I tell the truth. Every time an event is organized, thousands of people come up the mountain. I worry about one thing, snakes. Because there are too many Buddhists, they have to stay far away in the bushes and grass. And if a snake appears and bites someone, I will also be very troubled. It is not simple. So we must prioritize human life first. Prioritize human health. And prioritize the living environment. And if it is said that Buddhism is gentle, does not kill, does nothing at all, then what is the image of the Dharma protector in front of the temple holding a sword for? So who protects the country? Who protects Buddhism, right? So we must have a new way of thinking. In English it is think big, a big thought. Think new, a new thought a little bit. Or some people, since childhood when studying with friends, they saw that if they acted tough and hit their friend, from then on they were afraid. If they had money, they were eating a cake. If I reached out and demanded it, they had to give it up. So they learned a truth in this life. If I am tough, the world will be afraid. And when growing up, just developing according to that, they become what? They become thugs. Gangsters, right? Clearly, if they cling to the concept from childhood that they bullied their friend and he obeyed them, and they had money, he had to share the money and cake with them. When growing up, they will become protectors to take people's money. Going into a shop. Have you paid the protection fee this month? No. Hit their face and take the money. Clearly becoming gangsters and thugs. If the merit still exists, they can do that. When the merit is exhausted, people will bruise them into 100 pieces immediately. Therefore, the person who holds the concept that living in this world must use force for people to be afraid, is that concept wrong or right? Wrong. When the merit is exhausted, people will bruise them immediately. There are such things. While the person who is too gentle also cannot protect justice. And the person who is too cruel uses up merit very quickly. So we must know that. Or this wrong concept. It says, there is a person who loves their child, cares for their child. Meaning when the child comes out, they say, parents sacrifice everything for you, right? You are the result of your parents' love. So now you don't need to worry. Don't need to do anything at all. You only need to worry about studying. And studying to become successful. Is that sentence right or wrong? Too right. What else? Right? Having parents who take care of everything. The child only worries about studying. Doesn't worry about anything at all. And the result is the boy went to prison. Arrested by the police. Because he secretly indulged in pleasures. Why is that sentence wrong? Because loving the child but not teaching the child morality, not training the child to cultivate merit, not teaching the child to respect others, not teaching the child to feel sorrow before the suffering of others, not teaching the child to bow before respected people, but only studying to become successful. The goal is very ordinary, so he immediately went astray. Because the goal was wrong, he immediately went astray. But teaching the child morality, to be polite, to be respectful, to love people, maybe he will take a little longer to become successful. But when he becomes successful, it will be a solid success. There are such wrong concepts. What is wrong, they deem as right. What is right, they deem as wrong. Then there will be suffering. Or some people see this, meaning when talking to someone, boasting about oneself, feels joyful, feels pleased. For example, suddenly early in the morning, on a hot summer day, wearing a full suit, visiting a friend, constantly smoothing dust off their clothes. But the friend doesn't say anything at all. So finally they get annoyed and say, "I bought this suit for 3 million just now." For example, hearing a famous artist. They say, "Oh, in the past they lived near me. I taught them how to sing initially." When boasting about something good of ourselves, we feel pleased. Is there anyone here who is not like that? No. Most of us are affected by the illness of liking it when boasting about our good points, right? We are all affected the same way. But there is a person who is the opposite. There is a person who knows how to practice. A few people that when they boast about themselves, they feel uncomfortable. And when they speak of themselves as low, they feel happy. Just like Venerable Assaji when asked, "Oh Venerable, I see you are so great. What Dharma method do you practice? Who is your teacher, that your faculties are so calm, composed, and bright?" Venerable Assaji said, "Oh good friend, I am also just an ordinary person. Only an arhat can say that sentence. And he is happy in his saying." So our Buddhists are also like that. The Buddhas, disciples, the person who contemplates the profound point of this Dharma principle. Whenever in front of others we criticize ourselves or we think that we are ordinary, we feel peaceful in that. Humility, that person is a person with wisdom. With wisdom, we should try the experiment. Later this afternoon when we go home, we will meet a friend and talk. First, we will praise ourselves to that friend. We observe that feeling. Then later we go and meet a second friend. We criticize ourselves. We observe that feeling. Then tonight we contemplate together. We see the two feelings. It is true that initially when praising oneself, there is a feeling of liking. But that is a liking of the ego, of agitation. At first glance it seems pleasant, but it is uneasy. While when meeting the second friend, we criticize ourselves, we don't have the feeling of liking. But suddenly there is a strange peace. And unexpectedly that peace is true happiness. We compare the two feelings. Try the experiment this afternoon immediately. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Do it immediately this afternoon, so we can see what is right and wrong in life. And from now on, boasting. From now on we bid farewell, forever, no more boasting. But now why is it that some people easily see what is right and what is wrong, while others cannot see? So the matter of seeing what is right and what is wrong, I tell you, it is a mystery of the soul. I tell you, it is a mystery of the soul. It is not easy. It is not automatic that when we hear someone speak, we know immediately if their saying is right or wrong, because there are people who speak very well. After a while, we think they are right, but unexpectedly they are wrong. Or when a thought arises in our mind, we just think it is right, but unexpectedly it is wrong. Therefore, the matter of when hearing someone speak, we assess whether it is right or wrong. Or when we think something ourselves, that wisdom, it is not easy. A secret good affinity from the past makes us in this life have that strange wisdom, to know that right is right and wrong is wrong, so we can abide in right view, and the path of enlightenment is not far. A secret merit from the past. What secret merit from the past? The merit is like this, could be like this. For example, one time in a past life we met a teacher, and we said to our teacher, "Dear teacher, I follow you to practice, but on the condition that the teacher does not accept many disciples. I do not want this temple, this area of practice to be crowded and noisy." We follow the teacher to practice and we set conditions. The teacher said, "You should not think narrowly like that. The people who come here to practice or not practice also have their own affinities, and our duty is to open up compassion to teach the Dharma, because if they have no affinity they wouldn't bother coming here. But when they have the affinity to come here." So when hearing the teacher speak, we suddenly realize our mistake. Oh, so my thought of wanting to practice with only a few teacher and disciples for comfort is a narrow-minded, selfish, and wrong thought. We immediately kneel down and repent. So one time we realize our mistake. One time we realize the precious teaching of the true master. And one time we kneel down and ask for repentance. That cause many lives later, suddenly we have the wisdom. Whatever is right we know is right. Whatever is wrong we know is wrong. Just because in the past life we knew how to abandon our own opinion to receive the teaching of the true master. That is the good cause from the past. So in this life we have the wisdom to know right and wrong. But in that life if we stood and argued with the teacher, then we would lose it forever. Lose it forever. We would no longer know right and wrong accurately. Or in a past life, one time we had a good Dharma book, and we took it and gave it to others. We lent it to others, which made the other person also enlightened about many things in life. From then on, many lives later, we always know what is right, what is wrong. Or there was a Dharma assembly, hearing a lecture that was very good, very accurate. And we never went alone. Always tried to invite many people to go. From then on, and many lives later, we always know right and wrong accurately, meaning it is a blessing from the past, not due to our own talent. Or one time we sat in meditation. A thought arose, we let go. We didn't cling to any thought of our own anymore. We didn't cling to our own thought, because we knew our thoughts were not accurate yet. So we let go of all thoughts, only keeping the empty mind, to wait for the true ultimate truth to come. Until the end, all arising thoughts are not the ultimate truth. Let them all go. Let them all go. Only the empty mind remains. Then one day the ultimate truth will come, precisely because we let go of all our thoughts, no longer believing ourselves to be right. Then many lives later, whatever is right we know is right. Whatever is wrong we know is wrong, because we no longer cling to our own thoughts. But the person who clings to every thought that arises, that person will no longer know right and wrong accurately in many lives. Or one time in some life we knelt down and bowed to the Buddha with absolute reverence. What is the Buddha? The source of ultimate truth, the source of wisdom. So when we bow to the Buddha with absolute, sincere reverence, from then on, many lives later, whatever is right we know is right. Whatever is wrong we know is wrong. Therefore the wisdom of knowing right and wrong, it originates from merit. From the merit of the past, not because of the talent of this life. So no one should rely on their talent or studying a lot and think they will know right and wrong accurately. No. Many engineers, doctors, PhDs have followed false masters in the world. Very many. In Vietnam, it is also like that. There are some terrible bogus religions. Yet their followers are wealthy business people, intellectuals, doctors, engineers still follow them blindly. So don't think studying a lot means knowing right and wrong accurately. But precisely humility, morality, some merit from the past is what gives us the wisdom to know right and wrong. The more the ability to see right and wrong is sharp, the more it proves that we are walking on the path of sainthood. Because to assess what is a saint, there is only one thing: what is right, no. It is right. What is wrong, no, it is wrong. That is all to be called a saint. Now someone might ask us, please define for me what is a saintly being. We shouldn't say that person has magic powers, that person has a beautiful face, that person looks charming. No. If asked to define what is a saintly being, we just say that sentence. That is a person who knows what is right, what is wrong is wrong. We answer that sentence completely accurately. A saint is exactly like that, but saying it is right but not yet. What is a saintly being? If we define it both correctly and completely, it is like this. That person is someone who knows what is right, what is wrong is wrong. The complete part is like this, and knows extremely profoundly, knows down to every tiny detail, and knows both the matters of the human realm and knows the matters of the heavenly realm. What is right? No, it is right. What is wrong? No, it is wrong. Knows deeply into the human soul. Knows all the subtle and intricate things in human life. Knows all the hidden things in the metaphysical world. And also knows the matters of the heavenly realm. That is exactly the saintly being. What is right? Then no, it is right. What is wrong? Then no, it is wrong. That is a saint. Defining it like that is accurate, both correct and complete for a saintly being. Is there anyone here like that? Raise your hand. The knowing right and wrong is good. Because in the world today we see all politicians, economists, military personnel, intelligence agents, technicians. Whoever grasps more information and more accurately, that person will win, will excel, will succeed. Right? So they have departments to receive information intensely. And there are economic intelligence, technical intelligence, meaning which country. They send out intelligence agents to spy on the laboratories of various countries to see what technology they have. They grasp it and bring it back. Or in economics, in politics, in military affairs, it is also the same. Whoever grasps accurate information is the one who succeeds. And in the Dharma, it is also the same. In practice, it is also the same. Meaning in the Dharma, whoever knows clearly good and evil, right and wrong, sin and blessing, that person is walking on the path of sainthood. It is as simple as that. Just like that. And now we ask one question. Why did Sanjaya refuse to follow the Buddha? Why? First, because of self-esteem. Because at that time Sanjaya was older than the Buddha. The Buddha that year was only 35, or 36 years old. He attained enlightenment at 35. He taught the Dharma in Rajagaha at 36 years old. While Sanjaya that year was already over 60 or 70. So he couldn't bring himself to follow someone younger than him. Self-esteem about age. The second is because of ambition for fame. Meaning he wanted to be the leader of a religious sect rather than the disciple of a true master. He also admitted that the Buddha might be right. But now the position of a disciple of a true master, he didn't see it as good as being the leader of a religious sect. Meaning whether small or large. I am still a leader. So this is a wrong point of view. A wrong point of view. He lost to the Kassapa brothers. The Kassapa brothers were also leaders of a religious sect. But when they knew the Buddha was enlightened, they led their entire sect to follow the Buddha as disciples immediately, and achieved liberation, while Sanjaya was mistaken. And Sanjaya's third mistake was undervaluing ultimate truth over fame and fortune, meaning considering fame and fortune more valuable than ultimate truth. So the three mistakes of Sanjaya we can still encounter today. Therefore, studying this lesson, we must be careful in our new life. Throughout this life, are we affected by self-esteem or not? Seeing someone younger than us, are we self-conscious or not? Beware, that person might be younger but more talented. The second is, do we have ambition for fame or not? Do we like to be a big shot or not? And the third is, do we despise ultimate truth? But if we see that we respect ultimate truth, we can die for ultimate truth. We can bow down before ultimate truth. We bow down. We have walked the right path. And one more cause, to have the wisdom to know right and wrong. Clearly, we must always be humble. Always think that we know nothing. We know nothing at all. Always think like that in our heart. Truly, the ultimate truth still holds many vast things like the ocean. And the things we know are just one, a drop of water. If we often think like that, we will have the blessing of knowing right and wrong, good and evil very, very clearly. Today we study this one verse, and we see the meaning is very profound, and we hope together. In this life it is also like that. Our life has also suffered a lot and also been happy a lot. Our life has also cried a lot and also laughed a lot. All things are also like a dream. Now only one important thing remains for us to keep. For us to walk throughout this life through subsequent lives so we can attain liberation following the Buddha. That is, please grant us that whatever is right we know is right, whatever is wrong we know is wrong, so we can abide in right view, and the path of enlightenment will not stand outside of us. I wish everyone to be like that. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. I answered the question. Many questions are also very complicated. Someone said, just don't take refuge hastily. Just be a lay practitioner. Why take refuge? And then keep the precepts. And if you can't keep them, you incur sin. Actually taking refuge. The important thing is we kneel before the Buddha. We vow to follow the Buddha life after life. That affinity is very important. Follow the Dharma life after life. Follow the Sangha life after life. That affinity is important. And thanks to that, we are determined, we keep the precepts, keep the vows. So don't hesitate to take refuge. Try to take refuge quickly. Can we recite the food offering sutra when visiting a grave and offer food? Very good. So it should be like that. Every time we visit a grave or cemetery, bring food along and recite the food offering sutra for the spirits to listen. Very good. We should often do it. I want to offer food to the fallen soldiers near my house, about 2 kilometers away. But I don't bring the food to the cemetery, but offer it at home. Can the dead receive it? They can receive it, but they will gather at your house tremendously. Are you willing to bear it? That will be dealt with later. The Indra's net analogy for the Dharma assembly. This Indra's net is an image in the Avadhamsaka Sutra. This point is very subtle, so I won't explain it immediately. If I talk about this, it will take another 2 or 3 hours of philosophy. The sentence that Indra's net analogy for the Dharma assembly in the chant. If I want to explain this to be understood, it will take another 2 or 3 hours. If you want to sit and listen, I will lecture for you to listen. At home, I keep ornamental fish. Every day I buy food for them to eat. Do I commit the sin of killing? Do I? Later you will be both in prison and eaten. Why is it that when I recite the Lotus Sutra, my family encounters many disturbances and business faces difficulties? Many people are affected by this, because they also think it is merit. In the Lotus Sutra, there are many parts that criticize arhats. When we recite those parts, the family immediately encounters bad luck. So when I lecture the Lotus Sutra, I also have to modify it. Well, I have to modify it so that in our hearts we don't look down on arhats. If we do, we immediately encounter bad luck at home. Family matters encounter bad luck immediately. I only feel satisfied when I am an ordinary person and feel sad when I am an extraordinary person. Is that wrong? It is right. What is wrong? But don't be extraordinary. Just be ordinary. I want to support the temple, a donation box for charity, so that there is a merit box outside, clearly stating what donation is for. So at which temple you should discuss it with the abbot of that temple. Doing charity is good. But depending on the circumstances, sometimes if there are too many boxes, Buddhists won't dare to come to the temple anymore. Entering the temple and passing a line of boxes, they won't ever dare to come. It is a good idea, but I just worry that Buddhists will be afraid. A Buddhist believes that a spirit is following them, so their mind is uneasy. Please guide the Buddhists so they can be at peace. Sometimes there are spirits following indeed. But sometimes it is delusion. It is delusion. So we don't know what the truth is. But now we don't know if there is a spirit or not. Let's temporarily assume there is. The simple thing is we just offer food and pray for the liberation of the spirits. Then they will become good. There is nothing to fear. Every night I recite the Ksitigarbha Sutra for my father, because I dreamed of my father returning with a sad face. Returning with a sad face means he has not achieved liberation. In the Ksitigarbha Sutra, it talks about good things. So it is hoped that reciting that brings merit to the father. The sutra talks about good things. If we recite the words that talk about good things, in reality there is not much merit yet. but we must do good deeds and dedicate them to our Father. Then the merit will be more. Remember that reciting continuously does not bring much merit. The 10 ponderings. The body does not seek avoidance of illness. Is that something to keep the mind pure? Meaning they are also supplementary concepts in practice. But not always like that. Not always like that. Not always like that. To endure injustice without expressing it, because expressing it is cowardice, and revenge prolongs resentment. That saying is correct in some aspects, but in some aspects it is not correct. Not correct. For example, recently a Buddhist in the US sent an email to me and said this sentence, "Dear teacher, here there is a woman. She is about 30 years old. She says she is your lover. She says you went to the beach to play with her and ate shrimp and fish with her." Of course, I did not answer evasively. I said this sentence. I said, "I did go to the beach, but I never went alone. Every time I go to the beach, the whole temple of disciples follows along. Always present." I just laughed and said it lightly, but if I remained silent here, people would think I actually did it. So sometimes, as I lectured before in some talk, sometimes the prestige of the teacher is no longer his own, but is exactly what? Is the vitality for his disciples. Therefore now my prestige is not important to me, but it is very important to whom? To my disciples, right? So the 10 ponderings, sometimes right and sometimes not right. It depends on the case. According to my understanding of purification of the mind, it is not letting the things we see, hear, feel disturb the mind. So is it that we are not moved at all when seeing the Buddha or seeing ghosts, seeing joyful scenes, suffering scenes in everyday life? But suffering scenes need help. If we keep the mind pure, we don't act at all. Then it goes against compassion. The latter sentence is the correct one. Indeed, thinking that keeping the mind pure means not knowing anything outside is a wrong view. A very serious mistake. We know everything very clearly. We handle everything very clearly. Naturally, our mind has strength, has merit, has strength. And that strength is what leads to peace of mind. Not knowing, not hearing anything at all, but peace of mind. Not knowing, not hearing anything at all becomes like wood and stone, which is a type of wrong view of external paths. We know very clearly, and handle correctly. Know clearly, handle correctly. Our mind naturally becomes stronger. Then it will be peaceful. It goes through several stages like that. It is not easy. Due to convenient circumstances, I offer food every day, not missing a day. Except when I go to the temple, listen to the Dharma, do charity, then I don't offer food. When I return home, I am afraid that on those days the spirits and ghosts will be hungry. So every time I go, I invite the spirits and ghosts to come with me to the temple, to receive offerings, practice meditation, listen to the Dharma. It is chilling. When arriving at the temple, I go to the statue of Avalokitesvara and ask that the spirits and ghosts who follow me be allowed to enter the temple to practice as I invite them, and receive food. So when I do that, automatically, do the spirits and ghosts follow me? No. This correct thing is accepted. But there is no need to be complicated. Leading a large crowd along. No need. They are not very hungry. We shouldn't think they are like us. Missing one day of eating means hunger. No. Sometimes they still don't feel hungry after a whole week. In that realm it is different. They only need that. Today we offer food. Tomorrow we go, we say we have work to do. When we return we will offer food again. That's it. No need. No need to bring them along. They are not hungry every day like us. We are the ones who are constantly hungry. The Buddhas of the 3 directions and the Buddhas of the 3 times. Are they different or the same? No one uses the term Buddhas of the 3 directions. The Buddhas of the 10 directions. The Buddhas of the 10 directions are spoken in terms of space. The Buddhas of the 3 times are spoken in terms of time. Both mean the same thing. What is the meaning of the statue of Shakyamuni holding up a lotus flower? It is according to the story. The Brahma king came down to offer the Buddha a lotus flower. The Buddha held it up before the assembly. And Venerable Kassapa understood the meaning and smiled. There is that story on Vulture Peak Assembly. What is the meaning of the statue of Shakyamuni with one finger pointing up to the sky and one pointing down to the earth? It is the birth statue. This is what we often hear about when lecturing on the birth statue, right? The Buddha said, "Above the heavens, below the heavens, only I am the honored one. All things in the world are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and death." It speaks of his aspiration. Actually, this is also a myth. Some people believe it, and some people don't believe it. But we believe that when the Buddha was newly born, he did something very special. This is something we will discuss another time, because it is too long and complicated. The transmission of the Buddha's robe and bowl stopped at the 6th patriarch Huaining. This is also a myth. It is not certain either. Because why? According to Zen Buddhism, the Buddha's robe and bowl were transmitted from one patriarch to the next. That is history according to Zen Buddhism, written by Venerable Shenhui. But other books do not mention it, especially the book of Venerable Xuanzang, or Venerable Kumarjiva, especially the book of Venerable Kumarjiva. He recounted that he came to that country and saw the Buddha's bowl. And the Buddha's bowl had been there for a very long time. Thus no patriarch held the bowl. So the story of Venerable Kumarjiva is different from the story of Zen Buddhism. It is strange like that. So in Buddhist history there are still many things that are ambiguous. Please give me some secrets and experiences so I can realize my aspiration for the suffering of everyone. Wow, who is so great? Please meet my disciples later and talk more. Someone mentioned Central Highlands of Quang Nam or something. The letter is very long, so I cannot conveniently mention it publicly. Please meet my disciples later and talk. Please teach me a mantra to recite when I dream of ghosts or in desolate places. How to recite it quickly and briefly so I can memorize it and apply it before meeting them. I admit, actually ghosts come to us in a few cases. For example, there are ghosts in our house. I tell you, every house has ghosts. You can't avoid it. For example, when there are ghosts in the house, but they come to us with a mind to disrupt. They are annoyed. They are resentful. And they make us afraid. Or we are suppressed. There are two things. First is that person's mind has not practiced yet. And second is that our dignity is not yet established. So they don't fear us. The second case is, when we practice for a long time, we have dignity, we sleep soundly, they don't dare to come near us. We sleep soundly, and our dignity shines brightly. No ghost dares to come near. And the ghosts near us gradually practice. And they lose their evil intention. They no longer bear grudges. They become gentle always. So living together is very peaceful and loving. So waiting until meeting a ghost to recite a mantra will definitely not succeed. It will be too late. But this person asked, very cleverly, to apply it before meeting them. This person is very clever. There is nothing. We just practice diligently in the right way. Just bowing to the Buddha and spreading compassion. Naturally we will have dignity. We will rarely meet ghosts. And when we meet them we won't be afraid. Not being afraid is only thanks to bowing to the Buddha, spreading compassion, and humility. Those three mental qualities are the mantra. There are many other practices, but take those three as the foundation. Naturally we will have very strong dignity. Ghosts won't dare to come near. Due to Dharma affairs, I asked for 2 days leave from the company, but the director did not approve. But I still determined to take the leave. So teacher, is my action right or wrong? This is very delicate. This automatically creates a conflict between the company and Buddhism. People will hate Buddhism. The consequence is there. Sometimes our action is right. For example, we leave work to do something at the temple. Sometimes the action is very good, right? But we create a conflict between the temple and the company. That is the great misfortune. We cannot convert our company to Buddhism. So we must be careful here a little. That is why I often blame those who do merit but cause trouble. Doing merit and causing trouble. We must do merit without causing trouble. Then the merit will be complete. When sending memorial tablets for the deceased, Some temples charge 3 types of prices. I asked why. The monks and nuns at the temple answered that it is a thatched house, a tin roof house, and a high-rise house. I must concede here. In my place I only have one house. I only have one house of compassion for the spirits to live. And there is no price. So I don't know about the thatched house, tin roof house, high-rise house thing. Someone asked, why in the same religion of Buddhism some people chant Namo Fundamental? Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha? Some people chant Namo Buddha, Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni? Is there a difference? No difference. Just a slight inversion. So whoever likes which one chants that one. I am 51 years old this year and intend to leave home. I ask to meet the teacher so the teacher can advise me. Advise me. When you meet me, I will advise you. I invited my friend to practice meditation, and I said, the teacher said, to practice meditation well, you must have merit and morality. The friend said that she won't cultivate merit, because her teacher said that no need to do anything at all. The important thing is whether there is diligence and perseverance or not. If it is said that it only depends on diligence and perseverance, is it enough in the Eightfold Path? In the Eightfold Path there is right livelihood, which means we must cultivate merit. If it is diligence, it only has right effort. The Eightfold Path is not complete. Therefore that teacher is what is wrong they deem as right, and what is right they deem as wrong.